Jamie Marsland, welcome to Seriously, Bud. This is one of these episodes that I have been waiting to do for a long time. I'm already gushing just to be in your presence. You know that I am we're not exactly in our presence, but, on the street. I'm a huge admirer of your work, what you do. The quality of your presentations are off the chart. What can I say? But we're not going to talk about that. Good morning or good evening.
Good. What is it? Well, I was just reflecting. The last time we met, because we hadn't met, was the first time we met.
Yeah.
I was in a bar in Portland, bar that was way too noisy. I couldn't really hear anyone. Tried to look intelligent and nod, which has been one of the hallmarks of my career. Gets you quite a long way in life, I find. And that's when we met.
Okay, so since I know really we don't know each other at all. So now you in your intake survey, which you gave me no information at all, zero, nothing.
I'm not a big fan of forms, as my family will attest to.
But some people actually tell me their life story. And
I'm sure.
You just, no. Everything was born in England, raised in England, lived in England. I get it. Where were you born in England? Tell me about what it was like to be young Jamie.
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I've actually just found an interesting fact about where I was born. So I was born in a village in the Cotswolds, which is called Moreton-in-Marsh. I found out that Radiohead made Kid A, their album, just on the outskirts of Moreton-in-Marsh. That's my claim to fame in Moreton-in-Marsh. That's where I was born, a small Cotswold village. And currently I live in a town not too far from there called Cheltenham, which is nestled in the Cotswolds. So out my window, I can see a hill called Leckhampton Hill. Well, it's a bit grey today. And we have a small town, and then we have lots of hills and sort of Cotswold. I don't know if you know the Cotswolds, but it's kind of that golden stone that you see. A lot of Americans are coming to live here at the moment. JD Vance came over for a holiday. So it's kind of in the news a lot at the moment. And it's
really
2 hours west of London, I guess.
You know what's interesting too, is that because I've interviewed a lot of people now from UK, is that I am starting to hear different accents from different regions.
Yeah.
You sound different than Nathan Wrigley, than Andrew Palmer, than Katie.
Well, Nathan's from, originally, where is he from? He's definitely from up north now. So he has a fairly strange accent. He's not really speaking for English. He's watching this. Whereas I've got more of a classic. I'm not going to carry on with this. This is going to get me in all sorts of hot water. But yeah, he's from the north.
Oh, go there, please. That's what this is all about.
Katie is from Devon, I think, but she doesn't have a Devon accent, and now she lives in Mallorca. So, but yeah, it's one of the incredible things about England. You can be 40 miles away from somebody and have an incredible, such a diverse accent.
So, do you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have one brother who lives up north in a place called Ilkley, which is a beautiful part of the world. And he works in IT as well. Actually. He does massive project management for big projects in construction and things like that.
Did you guys get along when you were kids? And is he older, younger?
He's 2 years older than me. We did get along, actually. Yeah. We still get along great now. So
nice.
Yeah, he's a good guy. It's difficult when you're growing up because I was 2 years younger than him. And I guess I went through a slightly precocious stage when I was about 13 to 14. And I wasn't terribly good to him. So I think he tried to kill me a few times, but probably deservedly. I remember once we used to hang out. We used to play a lot of tennis when I was young. And I remember once I got what did I get? I got the local radio station. Friday nights, they used to read out announcements on the radio station. You could phone in for one. I phoned in and said that he loved this particular girl that we were hanging out with. And
nice.
And they read it out. So stuff.
Terrific.
Actually, another one. I remember the other thing I did? I had a bottle of gin in his room and told my parents that he'd stolen it or something. You do that sort of stuff when you're
sure.
I was he's still talking to me, so I appreciate that.
But I still do that kind of stuff. Call into radio stations and say things. Now, what about your parents? What do they do?
My dad he's no longer with us, but he was a bank manager. So that was actually, his story goes further back. Let's say he was born in 1939, I guess, and he joined what was called the Merchant Navy. He couldn't wait to leave home when he was younger. He was an evacuee, actually. So they moved from London to Somerset during the war. His dad was a teacher. And then he couldn't wait to leave home. So he joined the Merchant Navy and traveled the world and was a navigator. He ended up working in Lloyd's Bank and worked there all his life until he retired.
Is there a connection between Lloyd's Bank and Lloyd's of London?
I'm not sure. I mean, I know that Lloyd's of London is the insurance bit, isn't it? And they do all the big insurance for boats and things like that. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. But he was quite interesting because he was kind of just being managed out of the bank during the period. There was a period in banking in the UK where they got rid of all the bank managers, and the bank managers used to have conversations with people. And the bank said, no, this is bad, mate. We don't need to have these. We don't need to find out what people are doing, and they're actually good for their loans. And so he was kind of managed out and got retirement to that point, got a nice pension, all that stuff. But following on from that, what happened was there was a huge crisis because these conversations were no longer happening with the bank. There were no bank managers. It was all automated. And turns out that wasn't such a brilliant idea because no one was actually looking in the eyes of people and saying, are you good for your money? There was just machines and computers were doing that stuff. So he saw all that stuff actually coming a long time before it actually happened. He could sense it happening.
Huh. Yeah. What kind of student were you in middle school, high school, all that?
Very bad. So I went to
A typical WordPresser.
I went to a prep school and then I went to a grammar school, which is a selective school. So you have to take an exam to get into it. I didn't really enjoy school and I didn't enjoy the conformity of school. I spent most of my time playing rugby and sport. That was my kind of thing at school.
Mm-hmm. Did you play any musical instruments?
Yeah, I played guitar and
what a surprise.
I was in a few bands. And I loved drama and things like that. Not so much studying. So I didn't really do any work at school. I really didn't like the conformity of it. I still remember this.
Oh, I know.
We had school uniforms in our school as well, very strict school uniforms. You're probably not used to it in the States. But so I had this pair of trousers, which weren't strictly regulation, and they turned green in the wash. And so not bright green, but kind of like a sort of muddied khaki green. And I still remember the head of sixth form walked up to me and said, you can't wear these. And I was like quite indignant. I said, why not? He said, well, we can't make an exception out of you. I still remember thinking, I'm not even sure I said this. I said, well, why not? And it still kind of struck me as odd that you couldn't make exceptions out of people. That seemed a perfectly natural thing that you should be doing. So yeah, I didn't enjoy the conformity. Interestingly, there was a group of us that were kind of that ilk. Didn't do terribly well in exams, but most of those people have gone on to have the most successful careers or have been the ones that have started companies and been the risk take, as opposed to the ones that got the top grades and went to university. I'm sure they've done great as well, but it was there was a group of people that were definitely the renegades that have gone on to.
Sure. I mean, if you look at our world, the WordPress world, there's a lot of people that fit that mold that went to college for a year, dropped out, hated it, all that kind of stuff. And then they're running these companies and stuff. Is that if you want to fail in life, then you just go through 4 years of college and get a degree in political science. Anyway, or work in the insurance business for 17 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Were you good at it? I bet you were good at English and grammar. Sounds like.
I was all right. Actually, I discovered, like the last year of school, I discovered a love of learning. I think up to then, I think I've seen this a lot with my own kids' education, especially it's got a lot worse, actually. They kind of drum the love of learning out of you fairly early on in school. Now it's terrible in terms of what my kids are going through. They're literally drilled to take exams from pretty much 9. You know, that's kind of that. I'm not in school, so I don't know this, but my sense is there's no real intellectual curiosity going on in schools. They're literally told, like, now this is going to be a 10 marker, this is a 20 marker, and they're drilled how to take these tests because the schools are incentivized to get good results. And they're just not coming out, like my own kids didn't really come out with a love of learning. They got good grades, but they didn't come out like passionate about school. Whereas kind of in the last year of school, I discovered learning and just a deep love of books and kind of devoured. It was too late for my kind of exams, but I found that, and it's like that curiosity kind of, thank goodness I did. But it wasn't school that engendered that in me.
I always thought schools kind of killed curiosity.
Yeah.
And learning, the opposite of what you would think they should be doing. Schools.
I think it is hard for schools institutionally to create that environment. So they've got a very difficult job. You've got 30 people in a room. Lots of those people don't want to be there. Writing curriculums is quite difficult, especially at the moment with the world changing so quickly. So they have got a very, very difficult job. You wouldn't design that now as the right way to teach people, but the real politic of it is that you can't have kids at home all day. So you want them to go somewhere. It's just, you wish it could be a more enjoyable experience for them.
You went to college, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So I actually went to do a photography degree and dropped out after about 8 months because I realized I didn't want to be a photographer. So I had a bit of flailing around in terms of what I wanted to do.
So what happened?
I just worked at the uni. I left. And then,
by the way, that word uni, I just heard Leslie Sim say that the other day.
Okay.
The first time I had ever heard it, and I actually knew what it meant.
So university, right?
Yes. It was some kind of fish or something, but no, it's a university.
No, it's not.
Anyway.
I went to Nottingham to study photography, which is a great course. And I should have stayed at that. I think when you're that age, it's quite rare that you know exactly what you want to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was more passionate about what I didn't want to be doing at that age.
Tell me what you didn't want to do.
Well, it wasn't to be
a banker. Yeah, well, I sort of knew. Why am I even doing this? Jamie, why am I even doing these podcasts anymore? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't want to be a banker. Anything but that. I wanted to be a lion tamer. No, that's a Monty Python sketch for those that don't.
That's very good.
Yeah, I knew what I didn't want to do. And so I was very passionate about photography at that time, even to the point where we're going back in film now. When I was in teenage years, I actually had, my bedroom was a converted darkroom.
I've done that.
Which isn't great from a chemical, because if you're young, you don't know that it's a film. But it was quite pungent. Maybe chemically it wasn't the best place to be sleeping.
No.
But anyway, I dropped out there. Then I think I traveled for a bit, did some traveling, which actually was probably the best thing I could be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think seeing the world at that age, because at that age, when I was younger, we didn't have mobile phones. So traveling was still an adventure.
Yeah.
I had a Lonely Planet and a wing and a prayer and not very much money. So I did that for a bit. And then I went back to uni to do a degree and then started my career.
Okay, so what was the degree in?
It was kind of an arts degree. So it was a mixture of photography and kind of media and stuff like that, really.
What did you do for money? Get to the chase here.
Back then, well, you didn't need very much. So what did we do? Oh, it worked. Yeah, no, I had jobs. So this is the other thing I didn't mention as well. During uni, I was actually a tennis coach. So tennis is a big passion of mine. I played a lot as a youngster. And so that was kind of my main way, one of the main ways of supplementing my kind of university education. I was doing some tennis coaching there's a famous school in Cheltenham called the Cheltenham Ladies College, which is a very expensive school. So I was doing some tennis coaching there and some other places as well. Compared to what you're paid in a normal job at that age, like a bar job or a retail job, tennis coaching was incredibly well paid. So, well, I didn't say incredibly well.
So you're okay.
I was okay for money, yeah.
I bet your parents, were they worried, like, what is going to happen to our Jamie?
Yeah.
Floundering around.
Yeah, and still, my mum still doesn't really know what I do.
How do you feel about that? Because my parents never knew what I did, no matter what.
I'm absolutely fine and delighted with that. I think that's, we're currently going through a phase of, she's desperate to get my mum's what is she? She's 82.
She's my age.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not 82.
Me and my brother are first line technical support. So we're constantly, he keeps on trying to persuade her to get new gadgets and I keep on trying to stop that happening.
Right.
I know I live a lot closer than him. So I generally do the first line support when I need new stuff, new technology coming into her house. And she's, she'll phone me up and say the internet's broken or I've deleted all my email.
I broke the internet.
And I'm sure a lot of people have this. Now he's trying to persuade her to get a snazzy new smartphone.
Right.
And I'm saying, I'm not sure that's the best idea because she doesn't need it. She's quite happy with what she's got, but her friends are telling her she should get one. So we have that constant to and fro between us.
Now you're married, right?
Today. I've been married for 26 years, yeah.
Up until now, you're still married. All right, 26, that's a long time.
It is a long time.
You're almost starting to know each other.
Well,
I mean, it takes a long time.
I think that's right. I always joke with my wife that she's never really committed to the relationship. And I think she has now. I think there was a turning point last year where I definitely feel...
She accepted your proposal.
I definitely feel like she's in it now. She's like committed. So yeah, 26, it's a long time. You go through lots of...
Oh, yes, you do.
Life is a constant battle, not battle, but it throws things at you. And we're at the stage now where we've got our kids, our daughter, we've got 3 daughters and our youngest is 17. The 2 oldest are at university. And we're just at that point where we're thinking we're going to have some freedom. So just when you think you've got freer responsibilities, it kind of hits you from both sides, which I'm sure isn't unique to us.
Boy, yeah, I know. Wow. I have one daughter. She's the announcer for the show.
Oh, great.
Bree, and it's like having 3 daughters.
Yeah, they are amazing and they're beautiful and
they love you.
They steal my clothes now rather than my wife's clothes, my jumpers.
One of which I don't know what that's. Yeah,
but they will do this thing like whenever I do something that's dad-like and incompetent, they will immediately take a photo of it. Never want to read, but they'll immediately broadcast it to each other. For example, we've got this tiny little red car which we've taught all the girls to learn to drive in, and lock my key. It's very old school. So it's like, you can actually lock your keys in it. It's like it's an old Citroen. And I locked the car keys in the supermarket car park last year, and my daughter was with me. The first thing she did, her first thought, not how are we going to get home? It was, I'm going to take a photo of it and send it round to her 2 sisters and have a good laugh about it. That's kind of how they roll.
How old is the oldest daughter?
The oldest is 23.
Is anyone going in your direction?
Well, she's doing a master's in marine biology.
Oh, I didn't know that you were a marine biologist.
I'm not. No, I'm not. But she's, as part of that, I think she's, as part of that course, communication is a big part of that course. So she's had to make videos. She's done a YouTube video for the course.
Okay.
Because part of that is communicating the issues. And I think that's she does enjoy that process. I think that whole environmental space is really crying out for nuanced, interesting content that's not just catastrophizing, but is actually looking at data. And so I think she could find a space within that communication place, within that speciality. That's really interesting. My middle daughter's doing film, and my youngest daughter's still deciding what she wants to do.
Well, it's so nice that they talk to you and love you and all that. Do they have a really good relationship with their mother too?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting when you probably went through this when you've got daughters. When they get to about 13, 14, there's definitely a shift that happens as they're growing up and mum's getting a little bit older. They're definitely nicer to me than I think when they get to teenagers.
Oh, there is.
Daughters, which is
when they were younger, did you and your wife, you didn't know this was going to be like, hey, get on the couch and I'm going to ask you quick. So how do you feel about, what did that make you feel like? But were you and your wife on the same page about raising children? Because that's such an important.
Yeah, we were. Yeah. We were both disciplinarians.
Really?
In a good way. Yeah. I think we saw a lot of people that would negotiate. Negotiation drives me mad with children. When there's over talking and just constant negotiation, I'm not sure that's helpful for anyone. So we generally didn't, and we both don't talk a lot. So we're quite happy not over talking. So I think we were definitely very aligned in terms of behavioral stuff with our kids, which I agree. I think that's a huge course of, if you've got come to that with different approaches, one, it doesn't work because the kids they'll sniff that out and they'll go to the weak one straight away, which you can see happening.
Oh, yes.
Because they're very smart beings.
Yes.
And 2, it'll cause a lot of friction in the relationship because, one has a different view on the other one. So yeah, we were both very, very aligned with that.
Okay. Well, here's a question I'm dying to ask you.
Seriously, Beth?
So where did you meet your wife?
I met her at uni, and she really hated me for the first 6 months because I was probably slightly overconfident at that age.
Oh, tell me.
Potentially. And she was she came from a place called Croyd in Devon, which is it's on the coast, North Devon coast. It's very surfy. It's got quite a hippie vibe. So she came and we met, and she was quite sort of hippified and I wasn't hippified. So we're I guess if you looked at us, you'd say we're culturally a little bit not from the same sort of vibe. So yeah, she didn't particularly, I don't think it was thunderbolts and lightning.
Well, hold on.
From pretty much the first 10 seconds, I kind of thought I was going to marry her, which is...
Oh, I love this. You hit the right spot because I totally believe this happens.
Okay.
Totally. This is not like fantasy. It really does happen.
Yeah.
So that means the minute you saw her, you thought like, oh my God, right?
Especially when she was critical and she didn't like me very much, because I was kind of, I like strong women, and I could tell she, I don't know, you can just tell, can't you, sometimes that this is...
Oh, absolutely.
You're going to...
There's something that virons or something that just fly in the air.
Yeah.
And then they're the first things that mate.
Yeah.
So, they're invisible.
She definitely didn't feel the same way.
Well, okay. You said you were aggressive.
No, I wasn't aggressive. I'd say probably overconfident.
Okay. Well, that's how I translate.
No, I wasn't aggressive.
Overconfident got translated.
I've never suffered from lack of confidence, which I think is interesting as well. Right? I have this view on the world that I think there's 3 types of people in the world. And I think there's people that think they're better than they actually are. I think there's people that think they're about right. And I think there's people that think they're worse than they are. And I think you're generally on one of those. I generally think I'm sort of better than I probably am a lot of things. So, and I think I'll have a go at a lot of stuff and think I'm quite good at it, even though potentially I'm not that good at it. I'm aware of that. Whereas she actually thinks she's worse than she is, whereas actually she's incredibly talented. You see children with different levels of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also seen a lot of the successful people I've known in the world that the most successful people I've known haven't been the brightest, the best. They've just been prepared to fail over and over again and get back up. And it's that kind of confidence and belief in it.
But I was always in the latter category, like belittled myself and this, but I've changed. I think I'm in the middle rung now. I think
you're about right. You're as good.
I am right about right because you have to get off of that because that's not good.
No. You see it. And school does this to a lot of kids, actually.
Okay. So we've reached that part of the show. I have to ask you, in case anybody that's listening to this in the WordPress world does not know who you are, and how could that possibly be? What do you do with WordPress?
I am currently head of YouTube for Automatic. So I'm working on a few YouTube channels. So .com YouTube channel and .org YouTube channel. And then I have my own YouTube channel, which we just passed 200,000 subscribers, actually. So that happened a few days ago. So that's cool. I teach WordPress still. So I was in New York. Last week teaching a class.
You didn't contact me?
Well, I didn't know you. Wait, are you in New York, bud?
Oh, good heavens. I'm not in New York, but I'm near New York.
Yeah. Well, only there it was a flying visit. I was only there for 3 days.
Okay, but where were you teaching?
In Automatic has this amazing space called NoHo. And it's
I've been there.
Lower East Manhattan.
Oh, my goodness.
Which was great. So I haven't been to New York for about 20 years. So it was great. Yeah,
right.
Years.
Changed,
No, it's definitely changed. It definitely changed a lot. No American cars anymore. Not many Americans.
True.
And everyone is wearing black, blue, or white, I noticed.
And all the cars are white or black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No colors.
No colors in cars.
I think you can tell a lot by the sort of atmosphere of the place, by the architecture and by what people are wearing and by the cars people are driving.
Yeah. So what you were teaching WordPress for 3 days in New York City?
No, I had 1 day teaching. So I was teaching the Fashion Institute of Technology.
Oh, stop.
What?
I did too.
Did you?
Yes.
I didn't see you.
No, I have taught at FIT.
Wow.
WordPress and web and coding and all that stuff. How did you get to teach at FIT? Who do you know?
They came to us. It was organized by one of our good folks that sent out a hand of friendship and an invite, but it's something we want to reach out to more colleges.
Yeah. Okay. How did you get into video tutorials and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Whatever you do.
Well, I think teaching, because my business before the YouTube stuff, I was teaching people in rooms. So I would go around. I did that for about 10 years and I taught about 5,000 people face to face around the UK. I would hire out rooms, and I'd go into corporates and do it and agencies teaching. And I think once you've done that, you kind of know the pain points of WordPress and you know how people struggle and you know what they're going to enjoy. And so YouTube was kind of just a very natural extension of what I already knew. And that's kind of started it.
And you got better at it the more you did it, I'm going to assume, because the more you do it, the better.
Yeah, I've done a lot of it. So
yes, you have.
I've done a lot. And it's the same with YouTube. The more you do, if you've got any kind of curiosity around you, then you're kind of, and YouTube, I absolutely love the YouTube process and the challenge of YouTube and everything around it now. So it's kind of like a really nice place for me to be.
What are you going to do in 10 years? Are you going to keep doing this forever or what?
I definitely don't want to do this. The creative thing is everything for me. So it's like, if I don't have a day doing this, whatever that creative thing is, I'll feel a bit like if you don't exercise. I cycle a lot. And if I don't go for a ride, like every few days, I get a bit punchy. So I think it's just, I have it just, like you said around writing, I'm writing a lot now because I've got these extra tools that help me form my thoughts easily.
Right.
Yeah. I can't imagine not doing this.
Well, when you get older, and eventually you might get older.
Let's hope so.
Yeah,
the alternative is really bleak.
Right. So, and people that I've said this a million times, but I see people my age retire and not do anything.
Yeah.
And then their world gets smaller and smaller because they're not in the world anymore, like the way you and I are. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
In fact, my world just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and I meet more people and do different things. And why would I stop doing that?
I think that's such a great point about your world getting smaller. I've seen that with my grandparents and my wife's parents. And they'll talk about their worlds as if you know their worlds. They'll talk about Jeff and Clive as if you know these people and like you've never met them and they're just people in the corner. Their worlds are becoming so tiny.
But they're not meeting new people. They're not doing new things. They're not going out in the world.
No.
And sometimes that's a physical thing and a mental. I understand it. But as long as I can do what I do, why wouldn't I keep doing this? It's so much fun.
And there is a tendency to get more and more grumpy. So hopefully keeping busy stops that onslaught of grumpiness.
I was a curmudgeon when I was 25.
Okay? I wasn't. Actually, 17, I was a real curmudgeon. Terrible. I'm much happier now. I was so miserable.
I think as a group, the WordPress community is a happy group because people are doing things that they love to do. And boy, what a difference that makes in your life.
Yeah.
Because I've certainly done stuff that I didn't like to do, and I know what that's like.
Have you sat in an office as part of your life?
Yes. Yes, I have. I was in the insurance business for 17 years.
Well, there you go. Can you imagine sitting there now? You have to go in at like 8:30 and you're just watching the clock until 5:30. And it's just...
it's dreadful.
Dreadful.
It's the only way to describe it. Now, I had great clients. They were in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
They were filmmakers and cameramen and directors, and they were great. Insurance for them is a specialty. It's not like everybody does this kind of thing. But I still had to deal with insurance companies that I grew to hate and the people in them. And that was bad.
I think once you get to that point of hating the people you're working with, that's probably a sign.
And then I didn't even like my competitors that I knew. I didn't like them either. I at least wanted to like my competitors. Because you're known by the company you keep, but it's just like so-and-so. Well, I wasn't just like so-and-so. And when the web came around in the early 1990s, I said, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sell my business and do that. And my wife fortunately let me do all that. I was 42 years old at the time. And I had 2 little kids.
Yeah.
And it's not the smartest thing to do, but I did it. I'm glad she let me do it because it led me to being really happy. It took a while to get there because I didn't know what the it was. The it was initially building websites and teaching at places like Pratt Institute, FIT that you just mentioned. Anyway, it was a struggle, but the journey was worth it. I got to where I wanted. I mean, beyond what I really thought I could ever do.
I wonder how many people these days are going, I know I want to do AI. I'm going to do it.
That's an interesting, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, I tell people to use AI to help them find out what they want to do. I say, take your resume, paste it into AI and say, what should I do? My son came up with that one. I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We have reached that point in the show, and God, thank you. And I'm so glad we finally met in Portland and now this. And because like I say, I really am a huge admirer. When you see somebody do what you do and they do it 100 times better and they're inspired by it and they just say, how did he do that? You're a hero to me. I'm sure you're that way with a lot of people.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we've reached that point in the show where I ask you, who do you suggest I have in a future episode of Seriously, Bud?
I think Brian Cords. Do you know Brian?
Oh, I do know Brian, and he's on the list. Yeah, we don't know each other well, but we have met, yes.
Brian, I think, is the best writer in WordPress.
That's so.
That's my view. Apart from me and you, he's number 3. He has an interesting background. He was a teacher, I think, and he's got about 100 children. Really be interested to find out more about him. He reminds me a lot of my best friend at school who was super bright, didn't have to work very hard, got into Oxford, but he's got that sort of self-contained assurance.
Yeah, I know Brian.
I like him a lot.
Me too. I don't know him well, but we have talked. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be great.
All right. Well, thank you for doing that. And Jamie, thank you for coming on and doing this podcast because let's face it, this was the most exciting 40 minutes of your life.
It was. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks, bud. Cheers.